everyone, welcome back to the next lecture on the course Python Fundamentals Building Blocks for Aspiring Developers. Again, we'll continue with the fifth module, and according to our agenda, we are at the 19th day where we will look at tuple unpacking and also set comprehensions. So let's begin with tuple unpacking. So what tuple unpacking is? So it allows us to assign elements of a tuple to multiple variables in one line of code. So let's say you want to assign like different values in a tuple to multiple um, variables. So you can do that in one line of code. So this is why it is very concise and convenient because it does not take too many lines. It also is very simple, very readable, and it provides a lot of flexibility due to different options being present. So if you look at this one, the example, you see that we have a tuple that is person and it has three values, John, 30, and New York. We know that the first value is the name, the second one is the age, and the third one is a city. So what I can do is that I can write three variables, name, age, and city, separated by a comma. This means that create three variables is equals to person. Person is the name of the tuple. So what it says is that, okay, in the person tuple, there are three values and there are three variables. So assign the values in the same order to each of the variables. So the first one will be assigned to the first variable, second one will be assigned to the second variable, and third one to the third variable. And then if we print it, those are correct. Similarly, um, there are some other options for that too. For example, if we only want to um, like print out some number of variables, like only first two or first three, or let's say only the first variable in this case, we can use that one, and then we can use an asterisk operator with the second variable. So what that would do is that um, like it will put all the remaining elements or the items in the tuple into a list, and then we can use a list. Now this can be useful if we only want the first one and we do not want the second one, so we put them in a list. uh, it can also be useful if you only want first one and the rest one is a list, so it depends on the use case. Then we can also ignore some elements with the underscore. So for example, I only want the first and the last element in this case. I do not want the age. So what I will do is that instead of writing something in between, I will put an underscore. So what that will do is that it will tell Python to ignore all the values in between and just give me the first one and the last one. So it allows us to skip elements in between. And then we have nested tuples. So unpacking nested tuples is pretty much the same. So what I do is that when I'm giving the variables, I need to give them according to their nesting. That makes sense because name is not nested, it is at the first level. Then the next one, 30 and New York values are nested. So I need to give them in a parenthesis. So it knows that okay, these are the nested values. But once we put them into variables, those are not nested anymore. Each of the variable is um, different or separate from the other one. And if we look at the set comprehensions, these are similar to list comprehensions. They are almost the same syntax, the same exact thing, but just a different syntax so that they create a list, they create a set instead of a list. So that's all about set comprehensions, and we will begin coding. So let's go to VS Code. So first we can quickly have a look at the set comprehensions, right? So let's say my set is equals to this, and I say x where for x in range, let's say 5. Let's say print my set, print the values. Again, perfect, but this time is a set. If I want to make it a list, I would just do it like this, right? But since we do not want to make it a list, we want to keep it a set, we can also add a conditional here, like if x mod 2 equals to 0, like only even numbers. Oops. So I can do this, and it prints only even numbers. So that's all right. Pretty simple. So this is the same exact concept as with the list. So we don't have to go into too much detail. Now let's start with the tuple. Let's say I have a tuple, my tuple, and it has three values. Let's say name, and then an age, then maybe last name, then maybe their city, which could be, let's say, Delhi, and then could be anything else, maybe their score or something like that. We say this is their score. So I want to put all of these into different elements, into different variables. I would say name, first one, age, L name means last name, city, and then I say score is equals to my tuple. Then I can go ahead and print these values, print name, age, last name, city, and finally the score. So you see everything is here. Now let's see if I omit one of these things. You see an error. It says too many values to unpack because these have to be the same exact number of values as the number of items in the dictionary. This is why I need to put the score back here and do it like this. Now if I only want the first element here, name, and the rest of them as a list. So what I would do is that instead of just instead of using this, I will just say this. Now I will get rid of the other ones. And here I do not have this variable, so I will just do it like this. Just comment them out and run the code. So it says, yeah, John is different. Then we have 30 and everything like this. Let's say I want to do age over here, and I say rest, right? Here I say rest and remove this. So now what it does is that it says, okay, John 30 and the rest is as a dictionary. So it depends on you, like how you want to get the data out of this one. Now let's have a look and let's say omit some values in between. So let's say I only want to do name and the score. So I say name and score. So I don't want anything in between. And I say okay, print the score over here. Okay. Yeah, that's an error. Let's just quickly check the syntax over here if I'm doing something wrong. Yeah. Okay, so what we need to do is that we need to write the underscore here in between like this. Then if we run the code, now we have it like this, right? So what it is doing is that it is not storing any value on this one, but we still need to give it any value in place of these ones, right? So it says, okay, score is at the last, but there are three of them missing here, right? I can say, okay, I want the last name, but I don't want any of the rest. So I say here, I'm not getting this 30 and daily over here, right? Now, could also do this, right? We get daily, right? this is a correct variable name. So what it is doing is that it is assigning this value to this variable. We have written it two times, so it is kind of overwriting it. But since this variable, we do not use it many times, like no one would name a variable like this has now become kind of a workaround to skip the values that we do not want to use. Um, and we do not need to then create many variables that we won't be using, right? So this is kind of a workaround. So these type of things you would sometimes see a lot in Python, where the feature is not present in itself in Python, but people have developed different workarounds, and these are not like bad things. These are actually in practice, and this is why we use these ones, right? And then finally, we want to see if we have a nested one. So let's get rid of this one, and let's say, okay, I want to make it nested, right? Like this. So I say, okay, this is my name, and the rest of the things are nested. So I want to put it nested. I say age, last name, like this, and let me put the city too. And so we have score, city, last name, age, and everything right before. If you print it, should be there, no problems whatsoever. Everything is fine. I can now see, I can even omit this thing from here. I only want the name, age, and score. So I would say, okay, I do not want those. I do this. It says, okay, name, age, and score. So this is how there are different ways of unpacking a tuple. So that was all in this lecture. Um, One thing about tuples is that these are not used as much in Python, but still they are used. It's good to know about them, but they're not used too much in Python. Um, so this is why they do not have like lots of functionalities and stuff, but still they have like some basic functionalities. We can still use them according to our use case, and if we ever need to unpack them, this is how we can unpack them using different ways. So that was all in this lecture, and we will meet you in the next one. Up till then, goodbye.